Eric Muathe at Muathe.com. Let's take a look at Whitbread. It's a London Exchange stock, and I think it offers us a good example of things to be always on the lookout for. In this particular video, I want to take a look at the two areas in the stock where it has had an acceleration in price and see whether they meet the minimum requirements. Those simple minimum requirements can be found by a link or through a link that is going to be in the description of the video. But this is pretty much taking a look at these main areas, all data monthly going back to 2003, and let's see whether the moves began with the minimum requirements. So let's go to the 06 time frame to begin with, and so we're talking about this time frame here, this move somewhere there. That's the time frame we are looking at, and we can see that at the time there was a breakout on the monthly chart. So that's one of the minimum requirements, price breakout. We can see here that the RSI also meets the minimum requirement by moving above 69.1 on the monthly, and we can see that the MACDs, in fact both of the MACDs, were also moving to all-time highs. 3-year highs is the minimum requirement. So they met the minimum requirement, which might explain why we had change in momentum. So here we have pretty much what we can say was a sideways market until we meet the minimum requirements here, and we go for an explosive move in 2006, early 2007. So let's take a look at the other part of the chart here where we see an acceleration, and of course it is this time period. So what changed where the stock had been pretty much down to sideways, you can call it this phase, and also was sideways here. So what changed at this particular point that suddenly caused the stock to change its behavior and go on an explosive run? Of course, ultimately what we are looking for in the market, if we are patient, is to capture any of this upside, right? So let's take a look at the minimum requirements, and again we're going to go back to this 2012, mid 2012 time frame. And the first thing we see is the first thing the stock did was clear short-term resistance. In other words, it cleared the monthly closing highs. Also, we can go back to the previous all-time monthly closing high in 2007. So it actually moves above those two resistance levels. So with a price breakout, which is suggesting that we've cleared the resistance, we've cleared the ceiling, now we want to test new ground. Let's take a look at what the technicals were doing in mid 2012 as per our minimum requirements. And so we're talking about this time frame. Let's just draw it somewhere there. So that's the time frame. Let's take a look at whether it met the minimum requirements, and we can see here that the RSI again moves to 3-year highs and also moves above 69.1, and this is a line going back on the RSI. It moves to 3-year highs, as you can see, 2012 going back all the way to 07. So that's a 3-year high move on the monthly RSI. That's one of our minimum requirements, and also it adds oomph and power and energy by moving above RSI level of 69.1. Take a look at the MACDs at that time frame. You can see that the MACDs were also moving to 3-year highs here, or at least one of the MACDs. Let's check the other MACD setting. So we're talking about this time frame, and yes, it also did clear and move to 3-year high. So we got minimum requirements met in mid 2012, which is now confirmation that this, from a technical standpoint, was why the stock exploded. To understand the simple yet powerful minimum requirements, take a look at the description for the link that has lots of videos explaining this simple phenomena that is pretty much the criteria for explosive stocks before they begin showing their strength. I will follow up with another analysis taking a look at other aspects on the same chart, so we can see how we can learn from one chart. There's so much data hidden in these charts that we need to decipher because they play out in many other instances in pretty much any stock, any trading instrument, anywhere on the globe. Eric Muathe with Muathe.com. As always, good luck, peace, and blessings. E-A-C-S.